Hey Rich, so I've got your boot liner, 2 metre by 95 by 65, so that should be more than adequate just to help out with any mess in your car if you get involved in the tip runs. If that's a no-no for you, just let me know. It's mainly going to be a problem with the large floor protector that I've got in the upstairs bedroom. That middle bathroom, I've got separate sheets like this. Plumber should be taking quite a lot of the waste. You'll be left over with floor protective stuff and some blinds and stuff to put up. So regarding the location and stuff, this is one of the fixtures over the window. Just basically needs a screw. I'll point out where that goes. There's a little vanity unit that went around a sink, so the old sink's been reinstalled. That can go around it. Old toilet cistern's going back on. Here's the old sink. Right. Continuing on, so this is a mirror that was originally in the bathroom above the sink, so it's just a case of putting up some screws to have that reinstalled. This was on the back of the door for the bathroom. These boxes just went in the top room, as well as if you move these two boxes back into the top bedroom as well once all the floor's clear again. That should be the extent of the top room. This one went in the bathroom, and I'll show you where that went. So that went on the wall just here, which is centre between like the bath and that wall. So you can see where it was historically. And if you need to start again with the screw holes, that's fine. Because once they've skimmed this wall, I can't promise those holes will be there, but you can kind of see that it's at eye level to where we are. The lady's a little bit shorter, so you just need to take it down an inch or two. So that's where that black rack went on here. Just hook it back on, literally nothing to it, just hook it on. The original mirror was over here, so you can see where those holes were. Again, you can start again. There's historically going to be a floor mat, but I imagine the tenant will look after that. When it comes to the plumber coming over, hopefully it'll be tidier than how I've left it here, but you'll probably find that they've left like a bit of paint and stuff on top of it and general little bits of clutter. But the beauty with this stuff is you can just roll it up. So you just roll when everything's installed. The guy might have done it already because he needs to get like the sanitary ware in, so this is just going to be in his way. But wherever it is, just kind of roll it or fold it up, and then the other side of it should be pretty much perfectly clean to put in your boot. So just a case of taking that out and installing these bits. It'll help me if you're comfortable to just put a bit of paint on just to prime the walls. It doesn't have to be perfect, it's just like a base layer, especially around where you put the mirror and where you put this wall unit. So if you were to kind of come out like 6 inch of where it's been installed and just put a little base layer on, so that when you have to cut in, it's much easier to kind of blend it in. So where you install stuff, the plumber's going to do it around his sink and the toilet, but where you're installing like the mirror and that wall unit, just paint around the edges. This lot's likely to be fresh plaster, so you don't need to be daunted with feeling like you have to paint that. If you feel really confident though, we can speak about getting a brush, but again, I don't expect that. I'll just pause it while I go upstairs. While I'm making my way upstairs, this lot's likely to still be here. And when we're midway through, so probably early next week, so this is likely to get covered in footprints, all that sort of stuff, so like this. But the beauty of it is I've got some wipes that you'll see in a box similar to this one on the stairs. So you probably just need like 3 or 4 of them, just to give it a wipe once you've got rid of the general bits with a little dustpan and brush. And again, it's just to be fair to the tenant, but once everything's installed, this lot can be folded or rolled up just to be taken away. So this is the top room, got some plastic down. It's holding a lot of the debris, dust and plaster really well. It looks really dirty, but once you fold it in half, the other side's perfectly clean. If it's too big to go in one journey, feel free to cut it up when you're outside, well away from the house. But hopefully it just rolls up easy enough. There's the little pink blind that I pointed out, that went here originally. Might be the tenant's happy for it to just be left off. Otherwise it's just screw up there, and just make sure that all the slack's been taken out as you're doing it. There's a light on this wall that's been taken off. It might be the electrician reinstalls that once the plaster's all dried. So that might be something where you bump into them when you're here. There's an extra alarm that I've brought for the ground floor, one of these. And if you're comfortable and you've got a ladder, it'd be helpful for me if that was installed in the kitchen. Maybe just above where you walk in the kitchen, so it's not too much of an eyesore. There are a set of ladders that I've seen here, so if you see the tenant, you can have a conversation about that. If not, I can ask them. There's some skirting protective sheet as well, and that's just collecting debris as they're going along. You can just crumple that up and throw it into the centre when you throw it into the centre when you fold it all up. When you're on this particular plastic stuff at the moment, I'd definitely suggest wearing shoes. And obviously if you step in a puddle, you just have to take off your shoes before you go downstairs. Otherwise it's easy enough to vacuum after you. So the walls are going to be bare plaster. I'll likely come up in sometime in September to come and decorate it again. If you feel like you might be able to do it, then we can speak about that. And what that involves is just giving it a good sanding down. So if you are to be involved in that, it's probably worth keeping this down because of all the sand and it needs to be done before the base layer goes on. I wouldn't expect it to be perfectly done, just put down a base layer throughout, and then obviously make sure the skirts are cleaned off. And then the plasterer is going to be bagging up his old bags, stuff like that, so the bulk of his mess will just be debris and plastic bags. All these buckets will be gone as well. There's an old rag over here, that's mine, so you can perhaps look to use that as a protective sheet in your car. And going forwards, we can probably speak to the tenant about keeping it somewhere safe, and we can put that down like when you need to go and put the odd screw in the wall, you can put that down as a protective matting. If it's too much hassle though, we'll just get rid of it. And obviously the plumber's coming along at another time to reinstall the radiator. It's useful for me if once he's been and gone, you rub your finger underneath where the valves are just to make sure it's not leaking. Sometimes they can drip like maybe a tablespoon or two over 24 hours. So if you once he's been and gone, if you turn up the thermostat temporarily for 10 minutes and then rub your finger underneath and check if the temperature is warm. If there's a difference in temperature between the bottom and the top, so when the heating's fully on, so you turn it up to like, I don't know, like 20, 23, 25, and then after 5-10 minutes, put your hand here and then put your hand here, especially on this top floor, and just check if there's a massive difference in temperature or if it's common at all. Obviously check the valves aren't fully on, test it, and then check underneath the valve, put your finger there, and if there's a single drop, you just need to make a call to me and then I'll make a call to the plumber. I'll pause it. Other smaller details like this banister here, because these stairs are so steep, people are just using it and they've got dirty hands. These wipes down here, or an equivalent type that I'll leave you, are absolutely brilliant with just getting rid of that. So you go over it with the wet wipe and then just need a dry rag to wipe it, and that's like less than a minute job there. There's a socket behind this door. It might be the plasterer skims over it because that's dead now, because we've got a new socket here. However, in this bedroom, this socket needs to have a blank over it, so it's basically just a plate with no switch on it at all, because that needs to stay live. But we have got a new switch here, so if you see the electrician come round, it's probably tinkering with that. What else is there? There might be leftover trims depending on how we go with the tiling, and it might be I'll just say to you, you can bend them in half and take them to the skip. Otherwise, if the tenant's super relaxed, we might just leave them laid flat somewhere at the back. The boiler is in that cupboard. If you were to just once a month or whatever, that we'll arrange separately, if you can just check there's no flashing warning lights on there. There might be an excess of tiles left over, and I'm not sure where we're going to store them, but maybe the tenant's happy for us to store them in a cupboard like this. Again, I'm fully happy to speak to them if you're not comfortable, and obviously I've got a relationship there. So I hope that makes sense with the fixtures covering your car, the bulk of the main waste, what we're doing day to day until the trades are gone, which is getting rid of the general debris in the tenant's bedroom, on the ground floor by the front door, at the back door where they've been in and out, and then just giving those protective mats a wipe with the rags. Nothing extreme, just generally giving it a wipe down. If the area is not being worked in anymore, they can be ripped up, put aside, and then everything can be taken away in bulk, the following week or whatever, and we just discuss that. If there's any difficulty with excessive waste, temporarily put it in the garden, just well away from an area where the dog needs to do their business, and you can drive your car at the back here if that's easier for you. Just need to remember to lock and unlock the gate when you're leaving, and then ideally all of this is the aim is to not be using the tenant's bins, and there's a permit for the skip which I can let you know where I'm going to leave it, and then we just need to make sure it's left with the tenant again. And then by the time you've done everything, what the house is going to look like is there's going to be areas where there's patchy bits of bare plaster, which is perfectly acceptable, and and there might be a bit of excess materials left over, and it's just a case of we have a dialogue or a conversation with the tenant of where we're going to keep them, and just making use of any spare areas that she can give up until I'm here. But my aim while I'm here this extra day is to take excess materials with me, so it should be minimal. And then on your very last leave out of here, once all this has been taken up and you're taking stuff to the tip, it's just a case of giving it a once over with the vacuum throughout, and it's just to get rid of anything that's built up as a result of ripping up all the sheets walking them through the house, and obviously there's naturally going to be stuff that's falling off, so it just needs a general vacuum behind. And it might be a wire vacuum. If not, the tenant might leave you one. If not, the tenant might do it herself. And then there could be times when trades are stuck for materials. But it seems that they're flexible to come and pick it up themselves. So yeah, make use of that car protective sheet. I'll look to leave the skip permit. I found the skip's 5-minute drive. There's only about 3 turns on the way there, and I didn't have any hassle with the permit when I got there. But they're just pedantic about certain waste going in certain bins, so you just need to look out for taking that plastic sheet in and just getting some guidance off the guys there, just saying, you know, this is plastic sheet, in which bin do you want it in, then just reverse up to where it needs to go. If there's bits of metal like this, then you just need to take them to the metal bins and we can speak separately. Hope that helps.